Hello, everyone. I'm Emily.
And I'm Hannah.
And we are the hosts of the I Don't Think So podcast. Each episode, we discuss a different theory, story, or mystery and decide if we think it's believable or if we really don't think so.
Here at the I Don't Think So podcast, we are affiliated with Flurry Sports, and we present our stories, theories, and mysteries on your favorite place to listen to podcasts every Wednesday. If you like what you hear, definitely share our podcast and follow us on our different socials, X, Threads, Instagram at I Don't Think So _EH.
You ever think X will go back to Twitter?
No, I'm just worried it's going to get shut down.
Well, that too. But then we'll be moving on to the next thing, you know?
Yeah.
The rise and the fall of socials.
Like, sometimes I think it's so weird how a social can just die. Like, how Vine just, like, died.
Musical.ly was right after Vine. Do you
And
remember
didn't
that one?
Musical.ly turn into TikTok?
Basically,
Okay.
I think. I don't know.
I don't really understand.
No, I never do either. Anyways, so this is our last episode of our true crime month, and I wanted to do something a little bit different. We've talked a lot about some unsolved murders here, so I wanted to talk about one that's like, bomb, in the books, it got solved. And the reason I picked this one, Hannah, is because the killer was caught because of cat hair.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I am just reading this straight from an article, so if it doesn't sound exactly like how I usually present theories, that is why.
You sound so eloquent.
You sound so smart. There's not a lot of uhs and pauses.
You shouldn't have admitted it. You should have just
Oh.
let the people believe how smart you are.
Someone would be like, that dumb bitch, I don't know how to say any of that. So, this happened in 2012.
Okay, recent.
11
years ago. It feels more recent than previous crimes we've talked about.
Absolutely. Also, I will give a trigger warning for this one. Discussions of murder and dismemberment are in this, so I would just steer clear if that's not for you. I have this saved. I did start typing it up, and I have this saved under my Google Docs as the Davids.
Ooh.
Because both victim and murderers' first name are David.
Interesting. Was it on purpose?
Davids. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyways, I mean, like, they were friends. And anywhoosies, I'll get into it.
Love.
So, on July 3rd, 2012, a group of foreign students were on holiday in the South Sea. They made a disturbing discovery on the rocks at the beach. The group came across a torso wrapped in a pink shower curtain, stuffed inside a plastic bin. So 3 days later, police found a pair of legs at another spot on the beach, and after forensic teams were seen combing the area and taping off locations, the body would later turn out to be that of 30-year-old David Guy, who lived in a camper van in South Sea. So while his torso, legs, and pelvis were found in 2 places, the rest of his body was never and has never been recovered. So the pathologist who was there was unable to say what the exact cause of death was, but said that the marks on the torso indicated this man suffered a sustained and violent assault sometime between June 30th and July 3rd.
Okay, so a few days.
A couple days, which I was like, that's good. That's not bad. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about David Hilder. So David Guy
Was the murder
is
murdered?
dead.
Okay.
David Hilder is not dead. So David Guy was friends with a South Sea man called David Hilder. He was 46, who lived in the flat in Keeneland Court on Richmond Road. The longtime friends were known to spend a lot of time together at Hilder's flat and were said to have an up and down and volatile friendship.
Is this in Australia?
South Sea? I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, continue.
You move
Is that like flat?
Flat, yeah.
Okay, continue.
Or like Britain, maybe. South Sea? Is that British? No? Okay, cool. Anyways. Hilder was known as Big Dave.
Oh.
And David Guy was known as Little Dave.
Oh.
So Big Dave and Little Dave. Dave. It's cute. It's like hop on
sad.
hop. Yeah. So Hilder, Big Dave, was a scrap metal dealer. He was known locally as someone who rode around on a bike with a butcher's box attached to the handlebars.
That sounds lovely.
Witnesses said they had seen a man on such a bike in the area where that torso was found. He sounds like a lovely man. I don't know what everyone's mad about. So on July 5th, a dirty and disheveled Hilder showed up at Shoreham Police Station, but the station was closed, so he used a police-free phone to call operators. He told the operator his name and address and said, quote, "I would like to speak to someone. I think I have done something serious. This morning I found a lot of empty Nurofen wrappers in my pocket." No, I don't know what Nurofen are. I should have Googled it, but did I? No.
That's fine.
Anyways, when asked if he needed an ambulance, he replied, "I need to speak to a copper first. I think I have killed someone."
You think you've killed somebody?
I know. This is what he looked like when he came in.
Ugh.
Not well. Disheveled would be a very good description of this person. I just don't know how you think. Like, I understand, like, psychotic breaks sometimes you can't, like, recall what happened.
Either you know you did or you didn't. You don't black out that quick and come back.
Well, you're not like, I have this random thing in my pocket. Must have murdered someone.
Yeah, no. Okay, continue.
So PC Stephen Miles then met Hilder outside the station. PC Miles said that Hilder was very confused, and when he asked what had happened, he said, "I do not know. I'm not sure what I have done." So
again, I don't believe you.
I just think it's an odd coincidence. So he went into the station willingly and said, "Yep, I'm cool with further questioning." With PC Miles recalling, quote, "He said he was having flashbacks as if he had done something. I think he said words to the effect of, 'If I have done what I think I've done, then I'm going to kill myself.' But when Hilder was asked about what he thought he had done, he just said, 'I don't know.'"
Suspicious.
So Hilder was taken to the hospital anyways, after saying he thought he had taken an overdose of medications.
Okay.
Meanwhile, police checked his flat and found nothing suspicious. When Hilder was told this by Sussex police, he was said to have been visibly relieved and said, "It must have just all been in my head." So after medical checks, he was discharged and put on a train back to Portsmouth. Crazy, right?
That is a little much.
That being said, good old guy. Investigators, kept looking, and they ran into the relationship between the two men, and it kind of revealed a pretty big history of violence.
Between them?
Between, the Davids.
Oh. But they're friends?
But they were friends. David Guy was some killed.
Small Dave.
Small Dave. Dead Dave.
Worst nickname.
It's a bummer. Good alliteration, though. He was said to have accepted food from Hilder, and often showered at his flat.
Okay.
In his flat, because reminder, he did live in a van. In return, he was supposed to take care of Hilder's cat, Tinker.
Oh.
When Hilder returned home to find his place a mess and Tinker neglected, he would often beat Little Dave.
Little Dave up. Oh.
Yeah.
So Little Dave wasn't great about his responsibilities.
Not great about his responsibilities.
But that doesn't equate domestic violence.
Does not equate. How dare you not take care of my cat the way you want me to? So I murdered you. So on July 8th, Hampshire police arrested Hilder for killing David Guy. He denied having anything to do with the death or dismemberment. A year after the grim discovery of David's torso, Hilder was on trial at Winchester Crown Court for a murder with manslaughter as the alternative. So he never got tried for murder. He only got tried for manslaughter.
Okay.
So the trial heard that the precise relationship between the two men will never be known. It is said that Hilder killed David Guy and dismembered his body in a painstaking and deliberate way. Hilder then used his distinctive bike with a box on the front to transport the parts to other locations. Jurors were told David Guy's head, arms, and some internal organs and genitalia were cut off and had never been found. His torso was wrapped in bin liners and a curtain on which hairs from Hilder's cat were found. Fibers from the curtain were covered from Hilder's flat, and where traces of his David Guy's blood was found. So that was kind of, the kitty cat was the nail in the coffin for him,
Yeah.
Hilder was cleared of murder but convicted of manslaughter and was sentenced to a minimum term of 12 years.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So just because he blacked out?
Basically. They basically said that, like, he
had, like, a psychotic
He had a psychotic
break.
Yeah. So Justice David Bean said, whoa. Speaking of cats, Mittens is having a grand old time. Goodness me. She said, that's right. Treat me wrong and you end up dead. Justice David Bean said the exact circumstances of the death may never be known. Before he added, it seems most likely that the two of you quarreled. You had a sudden loss of self-control and stabbed him through the chest with a sharp blade, causing him to die almost instantly. Afterwards, you mutilated and cut up his body.
And then left him in the sea?
Jurors had heard of Hilder's, like, mild learning disability. He also had an IQ of 63. So
just right above what would be considered, like, cognitively disabled?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also had, like, bouts of depression. So after the verdict, David Guy's father, Michael, said, in time, I will come to terms with my loss, but it's the cutting up of my son's body that I cannot accept and never will. Fair.
Yeah.
I don't know if I blame you.
No, I can't either.
So the prosecution service spokesman said that his violence may have been triggered by the fact that his friend was not taking care of his cat. But the precise nature of their relationship may never be known.
For sure.
So this man is now in prison. Actually, I don't know. I haven't heard now if
coming close to being released.
It's going to be out. But yeah. So thank God for DNA evidence, including cat hairs found at the right scenes, which played a major role in investigation. I don't know if you guys can all hear Mittens having a play day, but she's having a grand old time.
She just wants everyone to be aware that if you mess with a kitty cat,
your days are numbered. Thank goodness.
Oh, well, thanks for sharing. That was a good theory. Or not good theory, good story.
A good little story. And I was like, we're going to talk about one that got solved. Just because we've done a lot of unsolved, and I wanted some finality with our last one. But yeah, I was looking up like funny ways people got caught. And a lot of them were kind of silly. This one I was like, oh, cats. So shockingly I picked it. But there was definitely some that were like, man trips and falls and licks the officer. So then they had DNA, and it was just like,
wow,
what's happening?
For sure. I like that. I think that we both really enjoyed this month researching because we're both very much into true crime. I guess my transitioning into our next kind of segment, quick, was there a certain case that got you really into true crime, or did you decide to just like start listening to it and got hooked? Or
I think I originally got hooked on true crime because I was really into Ghost Adventures.
Oh, sure.
So like a paranormal show for those who don't know. I was really into that show, and it was just so like all of them talked about how these places are haunted because of murders. And so it was like they would tell the history of these like tragic crimes that had happened, and it just kind of developed from there. And then I think Bailey Sarian on YouTube, she does Murder, Mystery, and Makeup Mondays.
Oh, fun.
And so she like does her makeup and tells a murder story.
And
she does them so well that I'm just like, I could hear you talk about serial killers forever. But yeah, I think it's that morbid curiosity too of just like that abnormal psychology behind them. And how do you do that?
I remember growing up, I guess for me, I always watched Dateline.
Oh.
And so I watched a lot of Dateline, 48 Hours, Forensic Files, like all of the true crime TV shows. And that really got me into it. But I think the first like true crime podcast that I really, really got into was Up and Vanished. And it like followed this murder of this beauty pageant queen that turned a teacher and then like never like just didn't show up for school one day, and how they were like actively trying to solve this crime and like bring attention to it, and eventually it led to the crime being solved. And so I think as much as true crime sometimes can be exploitative, right? And like you're giving attention to the wrong people, I do think that there is some good out of it being drawing attention to these like missing people, these unsolved crimes, and it's helped solve a lot of different things. And I think today, with access to so much technology and social media, I would say most people have good intentions of wanting to help, and it definitely can cause issues, but I appreciate still listening and hopefully knowing that, like, if we're spreading awareness to these bad things, that some good can come out of it. So,
Right. The hope that, you want to help.
Mm-hmm.
Help find somebody, help get things moving on the right track. But yeah, I mean, a nice quick podcast for us this week, which is just fine. But we will see you all next month with a whole new different set of, mysteries, theories, and ideas coming at you. So we look forward to seeing you then. Hope you had a very happy Thanksgiving.
Bye.